So I put the engine to bed. I've put the engine to bed. Gaskets on it, compression test on it, given it a good clean, and that part of the build for me is done. That chapter's done now. I know that the engine's all right. I know that if I put it back in the bike, it's 95% chance it's gonna run. So the next thing I need to do is check over the bike to see what's missing on it. There's tape already on it where someone started to dismantle the bike, and some stuff's just broken basically. Like we know we've sorted out the tank already. Things like the sprocket and the chain, we know that's going to need to get changed. We know we're going to have to change the brakes, but all the other little things on there as well. We know that we have to change the ignition, grips, some pads, some other little bits and bits. So now I'm just going to go front to back on the bike again. And I'm not just going to document what I need to replace on the bike. I'm also going to document all the positioning of everything, because this video is going to be for me to go back and check to make sure like the loom is in the right position. Just you know, everything's set up as it was when it came off basically. So this is going to be for me and anyone else who's in this situation going, crap, how the hell did I take this loom off? I didn't wire it up, I didn't label it up properly. So this is for you guys. And also this is where people can go, yeah, you've done that wrong. So today, front to back on the bike, writing a shopping list basically, and also recording as best as I can do where the loom was on the bike when it comes off. And then it's just pretty easy, just dismantling the whole thing really. Taking a bike to bits is pretty easy. It's remembering how it all goes back is the trick. And that's what this video is today. All right, bit of deja vu. We've done this before, but let's make sure we're doing it again properly. So we need new grips. We're probably going to need new bar on here. I think that's the only thing up top that we're going to need. I've already changed this ignition unit. Probably got a new one for that because I don't have a key with it. But I just really want to make sure, see, so this has been labeled up before. Right hand switch. Switch left hand side. I don't know, what's that then? Dash clocks. So these, I've already put some tape on these to label them up 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm making sure I know which one's which and that. That's pretty important to us when you're taking you need to know which firing sequence the bike comes in. So the loom pretty much is actually all complete up to here. That is most likely to be for the horn. Not sure what that is for, but I'm sure we'll find out when I put the bike together. So it's just recording all the colors and the condition of the electrics. A bit of rub on that one there. For the coils, again, there's another, one of these might actually be for the sender for the tank actually. That's a good point. And so we're just recording everything down to the ignition unit, I suspect that is. And I believe that probably came from the engine. So just making sure everything, probably for a brake, rear brake master cylinder maybe. No, it wouldn't be. Vent there. And these are all on the side, and that's, we'll come around the other side of it because that's for the brake. So there's a wire that comes underneath here. I'll probably go to there. So the loom comes round the back, under here, into there. This is where the starter solenoid is. And that goes to the starter motor. These go down to underneath the sump. That's the earth there. So that'll go onto the top of the engine. So I'll make sure I mark that. And that goes onto the negatives of the battery, obviously. Positive, which comes off into the starter, and the rest goes into this, which is all the fuses. So you can see there's the little diagram for the fuse in there. So it doesn't look like a really complicated wiring system that's on the bike. You've got front end, you've got the, can't remember what they're called now, idiot. We've got the ignition unit, and then we've got all the other bits for the fuse box, the starter motor, and then the rear lights and everything else as well. coils. That's what they are, coils. See, I told you I knew it. Right, so I'm gonna start just by labeling everything up that needs labeling up, and then literally just stripping the whole thing out. And then I'm gonna try and strip the bike down. So I'll take the front end off, and then I'll take the back end off, and then I'll take the kickstand off, and we'll take it from there. All labelled up, everything done. Just little bits of masking tape, just numbered on it as well. So let's just start tearing into it, I guess. Make sure I clock in this, because when I pulled this cable out, there's a little blue stripe on it, lots of copper deposits on it, and this came up this top left hand side here as well. So just want to keep a little track on that. And also as well, everything's really tightly packed in there. This little, I don't know what this might be, I'll do a bit of investigating with that one. Literally sitting above the starter solenoid there, so it's just these little things, just to make sure I remember where it all goes, really. But it's coming to bits quite easily, to be honest with you. It's quite nice. I'm gonna pull this off, hopefully take the box out, and it should all just feed out the back, then the whole thing should just come straight out, hopefully. This is just one thing while I was taking this to bits. It's the type of thing that I actually miss. Just noticed some exposed, when I took this plate off here, where the this bracket off here where the starter solenoid goes, just got some exposed metal there, and this little earth was on there. So need to just record that, make sure it's going back on again in the right place. I'm going to take the box off, the battery box off. Too difficult to get all the crap out, the rust out from inside it, so it needs to come off anyway. So I've got two bolts underneath here. And then once that's off, I can take this whole back end off as well. So 2 bolts here, 2 on the side, and literally the whole of this will come off, which will make that, just get that last little bit of wiring easy to come out there. And then it's just taking the ignition unit off and taking the switch off for the stand. Like I said, this whole back end will be able to come off then. And then we'll probably start looking at the rear suspension and then the front forks. There we go, one complete uncut, well, it's the entire nerve system of the bike, to be honest with you, so looking good. All right, let's box this up and make sure it's all labelled up nicely. Good loom. So one of the things we are going to have to replace is this, which seems to be a chain guard or some sort of protector from hitting the swing arm. And it's really brittle. Makes a massive difference just having that loom off. So the plan now is to take off what I can do from the front, probably take the whole front system off and then dismantle that in another video. There seems to be quite a lot of travel on the front forks, so it looks like we're going to have to probably recondition these, so new seals, possibly springs and oil and everything else that goes in there. All the brakes have to come off, obviously. The wheels have to come off, obviously. These as well, and then tackle that bit a bit later. So yeah, it might take a little bit of time, but it's pretty simple to do, to be honest with you. Normally 2 spanners and a good screwdriver and a couple of Allen keys will get you through the whole thing. So yeah, just get on with it. I'm going to take off the calipers now. Now this is a anti-dive system on here. So the brake line is connected to this anti-dive dampener, I guess. And I don't really know much about these, and I'm probably going to make a really big mistake. That's up to there. So I can take the calipers off and not actually have to touch these at this point because, okay, that's it. So the brake line goes into there and then that filters down to this dampener. So I've isolated the brake line. I just need to take this one off here, and I can take the calipers off, and I should be able to take the wheel out and leave this on. So I don't really want to mess with this because I don't know too much about it. And the forks don't look too bad, to be honest. I don't think they need just a good clean, which should sort of like, there's no real chips on it or anything else like that at all. So, and that looks all right as well. So maybe I'll have a look into that. But yeah, caliper off first, brake lines, caliper. There was no brake fuel in the system. Maybe a little bit on there, but it's just gunky as hell. But it's horrible stuff. You don't want it on your skin, that's for sure. So yeah, calipers off and everything else as well. Front end is off, front wheel is out. Pretty easy to do in the end, actually. We only had to undo one side of it, so that stuck bolt actually wasn't an issue. We can leave that bolt stuck in there. It's not going to be a problem. So back end now, which we'll see how that gets on. It's a little bit fitty, and the front yoke, which I might need to just give a good battering to. And then that's, as soon as those two things are off, that's it. The whole bike's in bits now, in boxes, and then we can assess and start blasting. All done. The bike is now in pieces, in boxes, all laid out in front of me here. And now I'm thinking, what's next? Need to get things down to get blasted and powder coated. Need to get aluminium stuff, get media blasted. Need to get these front forks, which aren't oil filled. There's some oil in there, but they're air suspension, so I need to look at that. Nitrogen filled. So yeah, now the really little nitty gritty things do. So next week, I think I'm going to tackle the wheels because I can do them myself and I know what I'm doing with them. So I can take the rubber off, take all the sprocket off, take the brakes off. I'm going to leave the bearings in for just now, and I'm going to do all the work on it that I can do with the bearings in, and then I'm going to get the bearings changed out by a mate of mine who's got a bearing press. This week I'm going to try and find someone to do the blasting and powder coating on the frame, the main frame, which I'm pointing to here, and then the back frame, that's aluminium, so I'm in two minds what to do with that at the minute in time. Still need to get the lower bearing off the yoke, triple tree, whatever you want to call it. So I need to get that off there, and then I can clean that up, and that probably can just get resprayed pretty easily, to be honest with you. I don't normally get these powder coated, so we'll see with that. So yeah, it's just next step. So next week, I'm going to continue with I'm doing the carbs as a separate video. So next week I should have the carbs back, so I can continue doing that. But we will be showing the progress on the tyres next week. Hopefully I can get them all rubbed back, masked off and resprayed in one little video, which would be quite nice. I've done them before, so I don't think they're going to give me too much hassle, really, to be honest with you. But we will see. So yeah, again, thank you for watching, really appreciate it. Thanks to Dan as well for all his help. Yeah, we just continue on with it, basically. Thanks for all the people who've given me some comments recently about how I can be doing things a bit better, or what some of the mistakes I've been making. I really appreciate that. It all helps me learn. This is not an instructional video. This is probably more of a comedy stroke tragedy of someone rebuilding their motorbike with the help of his mates. So I really appreciate the people commenting and all the support and everything as well. So you know, please keep doing so. Yeah, and so next week, wheels, hopefully, and I'll know a bit more about what I'm doing with the blasting as well. So now it's all been ripped to bits, it's just planning on putting it all back together again. So yeah, now the fun bit begins, really.